Hello, my name's Will, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how I took these photos for my Instagram. At the moment, as you may have noticed, it is winter in the UK, which is where it tends to get almost pitch black at around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which means really I don't have the time to go out and take good photos of this car in the daylight. So that leaves two options really. Either take photos at night in the pitch black, or don't take any photos at all. And as someone of my generation that craves the attention from strangers on the internet, I have to get out at night and take some photos under the stars. I'll show you how I do it. So the gear I'm going to use is actually pretty straightforward. It's just a normal tripod and my Sony a7C. On here I've got a wide angle lens. I'm not sure what focal length it is. I think it's like an 18 or something, but it's an f2.8. Typically the lower the number, the wider it goes. So that will allow a lot of light into the sensor so we can capture some of those stars. See that it is -3 outside and the roads are icing over. There's a lot of farming land, which sometimes they have sort of big open stretches of tarmac or concrete that you can park up on and get some quite good photos looking out over the fields. So I'm going to drive around and see if I can find one of them, but it is pretty much pitch black out here, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Right, so I've got the camera on the tripod, and for those that don't know photography, this is going to be long exposure. So really what that just means was allowing a lot of light to get into the sensor of the camera. I'm going to have this as a 30-second shutter. So normally a shutter is like that, but this I'm going to leave it open for 30 seconds. And just as a proof of concept, it's just looking up into darkness now. We'll just leave that for a second. And that is aiming. You can't see it now, but there is a constellation up there. So now just from aiming up at pretty much nothing, you can see there on the screen, it's picking up all of the stars, and it actually comes across as too bright, but we'll give it a go. So I've got my torch on the ground there, just so I can frame this up to how I want this to look. And I think we need to just rotate around a bit. But there is quite a bit of air traffic this evening. But maybe we'll get some of that in the shot. So there you go. I'll turn the torches off now. We'll see what that looks like. So there you go. That, I don't think is too bad, but you can see that the Porsche in this shot is a bit too dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick flash with the torch just to brighten that up. So we're going there. Get the torch on. Wait, is that taken? Yeah. I'll just lighten up the ground around it as well. And I won't show up in these photos, but wherever I've painted will. So hopefully this will be a really good effect. Let's have a look at that. I think I might have overdone it on how bright that was. Yeah, I might be able to save that in post, but you can see where I was lighting up. So really, I don't want my torch to face the camera lens. So I'll give that one more go. Let's put you there so you can see what's going on. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, coming along. Let's find somewhere else. All right, so here is the setup. Got the car just there, camera, everything all good to go. All right, so torch off. I'm pressing go now. With that done, let's get on the laptop and edit these. Well, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to walk you through what I would do to the photo. So you can see there's a decent amount of stars in the sky, but overall, I'm going to darken it up a bit, add a little bit of contrast, and then the vibrance is the one that I quite like. And then here in Lightroom, I can choose to edit certain bits, so subject, sky, or background. So I'm going to edit the background. It selects everything for me apart from the car. I can just bring the contrast of that right up. A bit more exposure. And because that is the light from the moon here, it looks a bit like a street light. So I'm going to just drop the temperature to make that a bit more blue. Clarity here, just to... Dehaze is one of those things that just, if I did it all the way, you can really see the stars here. It just pulls out the smaller details. So I'm going to add just a little bit of that. And then I'm going to add another mask for the subject, which it will identify that as the car. And for that, I'm just going to brighten it up a bit. I mean, I think it's quite good as it is. Do I need to do anything? Maybe make it a little bit cooler just to really make that silver pop, and then I'll add a bit of clarity to it. What does texture do? Texture, if anything, just shows how dirty the car is, so I'm not going to add too much of that. Dehaze is just for exposing detail, so actually if I leave that as it is, and then I think as a before and after, I think that's quite good. So I'm going to follow pretty much the same procedure here with this photo, and I'll speed through it for you just so you can see the befores and afters. Alright, so here's just going over some of the photos. Not all of these will be posted, of course, but this one was just more of a proof of concept, but that's it before, that's it after. I do quite like these lines. I think they look quite cool. This one is one of my favourites. It looks pretty good coming straight out of camera, but when I do the after edit, just brought out loads of details, and there are loads of stars in the sky on this one, so that is going to be posted. This one I quite like the angle. There's not as many stars in this one, but I've done what I can with that to really make it feel like a cold winter's night, and you can see there's a load of ice in the background there. So there's this one as well, which is just a pretty basic looking onto the road with the car in and the sky, before and after. Sort of brought the car out and really deepened the sky there. This one I quite like. I like these squiggly lines, which were an accident, but I'm going to keep them in. And, you know, same again, deeper sky, bring the car out as much as I can. And in this one, I can't tell whether I'm not a fan of it or whether I do really like it. There's a lot of stars going on, but it is quite bright here because this is there's a RAF base just over here, which emits a lot of light. So I might play around with this one a little bit further, but I am going to upload these.